Go again.
For example, someone may give them access to a particular application or particular data when they're in the office, but if they are outside of the office, they should have no access to any of those systems. We commonly see this type of location-based policy applied to firewalls. For example, many firewalls allow you to block entire countries based on an IP address block. So you can define firewall rules that automatically block all traffic from certain parts of the globe, because you know there's no particular country that would never need access to your application. The credentials that you use when you log in are the only thing that stands between the rest of the world and your data. This means that you must protect those credentials, and you have to be sure that they are always secure. You have to make sure that the applications that you're using are securing these credentials, that all of those credentials are always stored on the server, that they're never stored on the client, and that nothing is ever sent across the network incomplete. That's why IT security professionals often audit these applications to make sure that that authentication process is secure. Creating a set of policies like this for a large organization can be difficult. For the Windows operating system, there are a number of built-in administrative tools that can help you do this. For example, Windows Group Policy Management. This allows you to apply administrative settings and security rules across all of your systems globally. These group policy rules are a bit different than the NTFS permissions or permissions that you might set to a Windows share. These affect the operating system itself and some of the functions that people will use daily on their computers. This is linked to Windows Active Directory, so you can administer different sites, different users, different groups, or a combination of any of those Active Directory administrative boundaries. Administrators often use group policy control to limit what people are able to do in an operating system. For example, you can allow someone to add or remove applications from their computer, or you can restrict someone from performing those functions. From a security perspective, we have a lot of control over what happens inside the Windows domain and the operating system. You can limit what the maximum or minimum password links would be. You can require that someone use a smart card to authenticate. You can set the size of the security log, and you can enforce any user login restrictions across all systems on your network. To limit the scope of a brute force attack, we want to make our passwords strong. We don't want to use any single words or words that are easily recognizable. We also don't want to use any words that might be associated to you, such as your name or dollar. It's important to use uppercase and lowercase characters along with special characters so that any brute force process will become that much more difficult. Many organizations will set a minimum password length of 8 characters, but some applications will allow you to add entire phrases or sets of words as your password. And as you've probably seen, it's difficult to reuse a password. Most systems will remember the history of your password use and will require a unique password each time exchange.
I'm still recording. Let's go again.
Number of days, like 30 days or 60 days, or maybe even shorter amount of time depending on your security requirements. If your credentials for some reason were made available to someone else, changing your password constantly would limit the scope of someone's access. If you forget your password and you have a password reset, this recovery process should not be something trivial. The password recovery process is an opportunity for social engineering, so you want to be sure the person who's trying to recover the password is truly the person who owns that account. Many operating systems will automatically disable an account if too many incorrect attempts are made for a login. This is a normal part of most operating systems, and the audit and recovery process should take this into account. These logouts could also occur for service accounts, but instead of disabling this functionality for service accounts, you may want to leave that on to make sure you're trying to perform a brute force attack to your service accounts as well. And as we mentioned earlier, it is best practice to simply disable accounts rather than deleting accounts. There's often data encryption keys associated with users' accounts, so by simply disabling that account, you would still have access to all of the keys needed to decrypt all of the user's data. Every organization has their own set of processes and procedures for handling their IT operations. These are your standard operating procedures, and although they're called your standard procedures, these are the important day-to-day procedures to make sure that all of your systems and your applications remain secure. These are detailing things that occur every day, and are usually a very extensive list of processes and procedures that you normally use on your network. For example, what is the process and procedure when a new account needs to be made? Are there a set of permissions that need to be signed off on? Is there a form that needs to be filled out? All of these things should be standardized so that every single account follows exactly the same process. There should be a standard operating procedure for the backup and the handling of your backup data. There should be an SOP for how you handle encryption in your organization, and there should be standard operating procedures for everything else that occurs on a day-to-day basis. Usually these are well documented, and as you can imagine, they may need an extensive amount of documentation because you have so many different standard operating procedures in your environment. In some cases, your organization may need to comply with important industry regulations, and these legal requirements are built into all of your standard operating procedure documents. Every organization is going to work with a third party to provide some type of products and services between the two.
Okay, so it's redone for the day.